It's been a long, long road. I'm finally here. Da, 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 da. It feels like a year.
See, I thought we were gonna hit the mess around, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh
no,
man,
like the last time I listened to that song, I saw Satan. And I'm an atheist.
that's when I heard that song. I saw a skeleton, and last time I checked, deadites don't exist. Anyways, guys, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Buttery Show. And on time of this recording, happy Thanksgiving. It is Wednesday, so it's Thanksgiving Eve. But
appropriately timed.
We'll probably be doing our Thanksgivings, which will be tomorrow morning at the time of this recording. But with that being said, we're here to talk about one of the greatest Thanksgiving movies of all time. And it is a legit Thanksgiving movie. And we are talking about the legendary Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Starring our boys, Steve Martin and John Candy, who are the main attractions to this movie. We're only going to be talking about these two, okay?
Yeah, no, like there's no point talking about freaking Kevin Bacon or stuff like that.
Steve Martin's wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're not important.
And the secretary from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We're just talking about these two right here.
Oh, wait, hold on. Don't you also mean the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Ben Stein.
Oh yeah, Ben Stein was in it too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a metaphor, Mr. Ipkiss. A metaphor.
Now I want to watch The Mask again, but then I'm still getting.
Let me guess. You're going to be reminded that it has a sequel of sorts.
You know what? We're just gonna get started real quick before we do. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to the Buttery Show, and if you haven't yet, be sure to check out our review of Wicked. Yes, we review. Our boy Ryan and his lovely new wife have reviewed Wicked. It is up right now. If you're watching on Facebook Live or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to check out their review. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and subscribe to our sister channel, Morphin Network. With that being said, let's get started. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a 1987 American road trip comedy starring Steve Martin and John Candy. And Steve Martin is trying to get back home before Thanksgiving. All hell breaks loose. And Candy's trying to help him get home too, so he can also see his wife. That is the premise of the movie there. Directed by the legend himself, John Hughes. Ladies and gentlemen.
John Hughes.
For those of you who don't know who John Hughes is, John Hughes has made some of your... If you're a Gen Xer and older millennial, John Hughes made some of your favorite movies, and you probably don't know yet because maybe you just don't know, such as the National Lampoon's, not National Lampoon's. He worked on National Lampoon magazine, but he also worked on 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. She's Having a Baby, Uncle Buck. He wrote the National Lampoon's Vacation, Mr. Mom, Pretty in Pink, The Great Outdoors, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Dutch, and Beethoven. So yeah.
And unfortunately, Baby's Day Out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing.
But you know it's the John Hughes movie that gets too much hate?
What?
Home Alone 3. Because as ridiculous as that movie is, Alex is a Chad.
We are going to have to review Home Alone 3 at some point. So get ready for that, people.
We're going to have to do all 6 movies.
No. Stop. After 3, every other movie does not exist. Don't you dare.
Even the one with Crabman?
Don't you dare. Turner. Don't you dare put that evil on me, Mike. Don't you dare. Hell no. Anyways, but real quick, he also did, let me see and make sure I'm correct. He also did write and produce Miracle on 34th Street, the remake with Mara Wilson. He also worked on Dennis the Menace, 101 Dalmatians, and Flubber. Not that big of a fan of Flubber. If I do say so myself, I'm not really a huge fan. But you know what? Our boy Will Wheaton's in it, and Robin Williams. So it is what it is.
Will Wheaton's technically one of the villains in that
Yeah.
movie because he's the one that got kicked out. He's complying with the evil scheme to get the science program shut down.
Exactly. But no, and so real quick, this movie's budget was $15 million. Do you want to know how much this movie made back in the box office?
I'm still mentally preoccupied. So
okay,
what was the budget? What was the budget?
$15 million.
Okay, so typically his movies make 4 times as much, but considering the fact that this was back in the 80s, I'm gonna instead of saying 60 million, I'm gonna go with something closer to 50 million.
You're almost close. You kind of went a little over. $49.5 million worldwide.
Okay. Hey.
You were very close.
Because usually he makes 4 times the amount statistically. Until after Home Alone 2, it starts to wane a little bit. But 87 was that year where you had to compete with some other stuff. So yeah, because Back to the Future came out that year if I remember. Part 2.
Part 2. Let me actually check and make sure.
Yeah, did Part 2 come out that year? Because Part 2 or 3 definitely came out in 87.
No, I think hold on, let me check. No, Back to the Future Part 2 came out in 89. Because remember, 2 and 3 were back to back. They finished as they were wrapping up finishing 2. They were also now working on 3. Hence the reason why.
No, I get that part, but it's I could have sworn it came out 2 years after the first one.
No. But let me see, make sure. Okay, no. Nope, never mind. I was gonna say Rocky.
You learned something new.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's talk real quick before we can get into it. Let's talk about Steve Martin. Steve Martin now has been acting for what? Now 5 decades. We've had 5 decades of Steve Martin, and I think he just announced he's gonna be retiring with the new television show he's on called Only Murders in the Building with
I still don't understand the title. I watched the first season and a half. I get it's the name of their podcast, but I still don't get why they called it that. I mean, I know that their building had a murder in it in season 1, but what's with the title?
Anyway, but yeah. I know Steve Martin did announce last year that he was retiring with this show. When the show ends, he's done. Only Murders in the Building with him, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. But aside from that, this man's filmography, I'm just going to name a handful, okay? We got Cheaper by the Dozen 1, Cheaper by the Dozen 2, Bringing Down a House, which we did review, Bowfinger, Fantasia 2000, Prince of Egypt.
Actually, he wasn't an announcer in Fantasia 2000. He wasn't. He didn't do any actual voice work. Because what they did was they would have a celebrity announce each skit, introduce us to each skit, each of the 7 videos. And if I recall, Steve Martin was with Martin Short, I think it was. And they either announced the Donald Duck one where they do Noah's Ark, or it's the one with the flamingo with the yo-yos. It was one of those 2.
Right. But I'm only touching the 90s stuff. I haven't even gotten into the other stuff like Father of the Bride 1, Father of the Bride Part 2, Parenthood, freaking Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, obviously Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which came out the year after Planes and Trains.
The greatest Steve Martin movie of all time.
No, bump that. The greatest Steve Martin movie of all
time.
For
you is The Jerk.
No, yes. In 1979, people, Steve Martin starred in arguably top 5 greatest comedy movies of all time, The Jerk. A movie which I don't know how we're going to do it. We might need to get New York Mike to help us out with this, but we have to review The Jerk. And I can already tell you, people, if The Jerk was made today,
I am one of those.
In theaters. It would be like that movie, The Interview. It would only be available for streaming services. Ain't no way that movie's gonna be put in theaters, and that's a shame. Because The Jerk is, again, top 5 greatest comedies of all time. You want a hint? I'm gonna give you a quote.
Don't trust Whitey.
Jesus loves a working man, and don't trust Whitey. Do what you please with that quote. Find out why we said that, but it is also true. Anyways, we love Steve Martin. Okay, don't get it twisted. And when we were doing Strucklet retrospect reviews during COVID, we did Steve Martin month for Thanksgiving.
What's really funny is we were doing Keanu month, and for our final movie, we did Parenthood,
which led to Steve Martin.
yeah. So, are we gonna do Eugene Levy month or what?
I mean, I guess. I mean, I would like to review Schitt's Creek, the show. That's the case, but anyway,
I still have only seen like 2 random episodes of that. All I know is that like his son was like the writer and star of it.
Yeah,
but Eugene Levy was mostly like the American Pie series plus spin-offs.
Yep.
And that one Olsen Twins movie, New York Minute, where he was like singing "Bad Boys, Bad Boys."
Oh God. Nope, we're not even gonna. I'm not even going to. Let's talk about John Candy. John Candy, God bless this man. This man, unfortunately, had passed away back in '94, but left a legacy when it comes to his filmography. I mean, Stripes, Heavy Metal. He did. Yes, he was one of the voices in Heavy Metal. He was in National Lampoon's Vacation. He was in Planes, Trains. He was in Sesame Street. Follow That Bird. He was in
Uncle Buck.
Oh, Uncle Buck. He was in Spaceballs,
which had its own TV adaptation, weirdly enough.
Yeah, with Mike Epps. We don't talk about that one. And I love Mike Epps, but we don't talk about that. Spaceballs as Bartholomew.
I love Barf.
The Great Outdoors, Speed Zone, Uncle Buck, Masters of Menace, Home Alone, The Rescuers Down Under. He was in JFK. And then he was in one of my favorite movies, Cool Runnings. And
see, you know what's funny is when Del mentioned he wants to go to Jamaica in that one scene, I'm like, so are you going to like find 4 Jamaican runners and turn them into an ice sledding team?
Oh my God. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Mike, quick question: when was the first time you saw this movie? And we're gonna get started right after you talk about it.
You know what's funny is I almost saw the movie a lot sooner than I actually saw the movie. By which I mean, so let me tell you. So you know what in my opinion, is the best Steve Martin movie is, right?
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yes. So back when Blockbuster was a thing. My parents took me there with the explicit purpose of trying to rent a copy of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. But here's the thing. In Russian, the names of movies are different from the names they have in America. Not just because of the language change, but also the actual phrasing. Because, like, for example, like you know what the Japanese title for Fast and Furious is?
What?
Wild Spin. Do you know what the Ukrainian name for the movie Brave is? You know, the Pixar film?
Yes.
Braveheart. So my parents are like looking for this film. They don't know the American name of the film, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. So they almost ended up grabbing the film Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, because I distinctly remember, because it was a movie where Steve Martin is with a dude with a mustache.
Yes.
That's the only thing that these two movies have in common. They involve a sweet talker with a mustache. But thankfully they did find the actual movie. I've watched Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I loved it. But that also means at that time I also did not see Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So I ended up watching it sometime either like after DVR was accessible to me. Maybe it was on TBS, maybe on HBO, maybe on Stars, Epic, who knows. Maybe I watched it on a streaming service. Don't remember. But I definitely saw this movie a lot more recently than I would have liked to. Cause it's like like for example, like Big Hero 6, I watched it 6 years after it came out. Yeah, this would be my third time watching the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I watched. I think I mentioned it in when we originally reviewed the movie. I think I watched a little bit when I was a kid, but I never really got the concept of it. It wasn't until obviously COVID when I actually sat down and watched it, and also, wow, you remember when Screen Junkies used to do movie fights?
Yeah.
So Seth Rogen was on an episode of Movie Fights where they were talking about what is the best scene where the main character says the F word. And I can't remember what the fool's name. Spencer. Spencer. I can't remember his full name. He talked about how the best scene was when Steve Martin was going crazy with the Secretary for Ferris Bueller saying, "I want my effing car. You left me at the middle of effing nowhere." Then I decided, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie. So yeah, it's convoluted as it is. I saw this movie with Mike here during COVID. So, anyways, let's get started. So, movies. This is a very simple plot. So, Steve Martin is he's in New York doing business, and his time gets wasted because the manager of this they're trying to find out which poster they're going to use because his company sells cosmetics. He is trying to get out of there because he's trying to make a 6 o'clock flight back to Chicago and trying to get to the Chicago airport. And he's in he's in New York. Kevin Bacon, small cameo, beats him to the cab. He tried to buy a cab off of a Wall Street guy, giving him $75, which is a lot of money back in the 80s, people. I will actually look this up while we're talking about this. So John Candy unintentionally takes Steve Martin's cab as Steve Martin is paying this Wall Street jerk.
And what's funny is that you're not necessarily paying attention to what's going on if you don't know exactly what's going on, because you're seeing a bunch of bags being loaded.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing who's loading them. So if you're not paying attention, you're thinking it's the cabbie. But it's not the cabbie. It's some other dude who also wearing a blue jacket. So by the time when he paid off the Wall Street guy $50,
75,
75, the cab just ran off.
real quick. So the equivalent of $75 in 1987 is the equivalent today of $208.
$208. That's even crazier.
Ladies, to our younger audience, inflation sucks.
Yeah, see, $208 is 2/3 of a Nintendo Switch.
Actually, hold on. Let me be more specific. $208.40.
I find it funny how I got the 8 part right.
So Steve Martin gets to the airport, sees John Candy as they're waiting for the.
He's like,
I wish we had pictures, but no, he scared the hell out of John Candy. But he just finished talking to his wife, saying, "Yo, I'm gonna probably be home sometime around like 9, maybe 10 o'clock." And she's like, "I'll wait for you." Right? Sees John Candy. They get into and John Candy apologizes for the cab incident. They get into the plane. The stewardess, who I'm sorry, I couldn't stand her. Steve Martin had first class tickets, but he got coached because of the fact that the flight was delayed. His 6 o'clock flight was delayed, and he wasn't going to be leaving until like 8 o'clock later that night. Which his coworker did say, "Yo, you're not going to make it. Just roll with me to the 8 o'clock flight because I'm heading to Chicago too. Like, let's roll together." He's like, "No. I'm like, dude, I got this." Steve Martin should have listened. So the lady is giving him a hard time while she's also kissing some dude and she lets him go in the first class, and he sat settling coach with John Candy.
Yeah, he gets bumped.
Yeah. And so then you find out they are stuck in Wichita. They had to make an emergency landing because Chicago O'Hare Airport is canceled all the flights, especially the flights that are coming into Chicago O'Hare. I don't know if anyone knows this, but the top 4 biggest airports in America, LAX, JFK, O'Hare, and if I remember correctly, the other one's in Atlanta, if I remember correctly. Look that up for me. While I'm talking, Mike. Anyways, he called
what I do know is in Scotland, the 3 major airports are Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Prestwick.
Oh my God.
I don't know why I know this. I've never been to Scotland.
Anyways, real quick. Hold up. So actually there's more. So real quick, I want to correct myself. So okay, these are the biggest airports in the world right now, okay? You have the in America, Chicago O'Hare Airport, JFK, Salt Lake City International Airport, San Francisco International Airport, Detroit Metropolitan Airport, George Bush Intercontinental Airport.
I assume it's George H. Bush.
Yeah, it's just George Bush. It doesn't say George H. Bush. LAX, the Denver International Airport, and I've been here, so I can attest the Dallas/Fort Worth International Airport. Shout out to Fort Worth, Texas, by the way. So there you go. They're in Wichita. They need to get a motel. They find a motel, and this is when you start to see the difference between John Candy and Steve Martin's character. So John Candy's character is very nice.
And by the way, talk about going nowhere fast.
Yeah. John Candy is legit the nicest guy to Steve Martin. Well, Steve Martin's being a complete jerk. Rightfully so, because he is not going to make it home on time to see his wife and his kids and his in-laws because they're spending Christmas with them. On top of that, they're in a trashy motel. And keep in mind, it is nowhere near the airport, let alone the airport let alone around the airport, so maybe they can get another flight to Chicago or a train station that will get them to Chicago. They go to the sleazy motel. Steve Martin obviously pays for the motel. They're getting, and a whole bunch of crap just happens. John Candy's clothes are all over the place.
Yes, when he tries to wash his face.
The towels. Now, I have been in this situation before, being someone who was going to conventions. When you are dealing with someone who's a little bigger, who uses up all the fucking towels, gets annoying as hell. Evo 2018, I shared a hotel room with 4 other dudes. I slept on the freaking ground because we had a hotel big enough where 2 people can sleep on the 2 of the beds, and then 2 people can sleep on the sides. Obviously, there a fella who is much bigger took the bed, and this fool stank up the entire bathroom. People who play, if you're into fighting games, let's say Smash Brothers, put on deodorant. Use body wash. Put on deodorant. Use body wash.
If you don't have your own, the hotel will provide you with complimentary body wash.
And use body wash.
Heck, I didn't even. My razor got busted when we had to go to hotels to attend a wedding. The hotel provided me with a complimentary razor.
Mike, real quick. Yes, that is true. And also, we're in Vegas for Evo. They will give you complimentary stuff, especially if you're standing in the Mandalay Bay Hotel.
Because the hotels want to uphold a superficial standard of luxury, and in order to uphold it, they give you complimentary bath and body supplies.
So please wash your ass if they give you
free.
Stuff.
Turns out hygiene is not a DLC you have to pay $10.99 to EA for. Or Blizzard or Bethesda. It's free.
Scroll Game Podcast coming back in January 2025. Anyways, so, and I'm being serious about that too. We're coming Scroll Podcast 2025. Anyways, so they get into a tiff because what do you call it? John Candy has a routine where he's trying to clear out his airways before he goes to bed because his wife and his wife knew about it and stuff. Steve Martin gets completely irate. Again, rightfully so. You're not going to be home in time to see. You're going to be home in the nick of time for Thanksgiving, and goes off on John Candy. And I wish I want to pull. I'm going to pull up the quote John Candy does say. Hold up.
But, yes, the one about him liking himself.
Yeah, and talking about how his wife likes him. And what you see is what you're going to get. Here, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. All right, here it is. You want to hurt me? Go ahead. If it makes you feeling better. I'm an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much, but I also listen too much. I could be cold-hearted like you, but I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Well, you think what you want to think. I'm not changing. I like me. What you see is what you're gonna get. Oh no. Well, my wife likes me. My customers like me. It's on the real article. What you see is what you're gonna get. Shuts down Steve Martin's. It is such. I heard this quote from that episode of Family Guy when Stu was home alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I first heard this quote. I did not realize the impact it was going to have, especially in the revelation that happens later in the movie. So, as they're asleep, some kid steals their money, both out of their wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we get away with jokes that you couldn't say, you wouldn't be able to say nowadays. I'm not gonna repeat said jokes, but
my head's between two pillows.
Yeah, like I said, there are certain jokes that obviously in 2024 would not fly, but honestly, they're still funny though, especially if you watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the diner that's
and they're like, oh, did you watch the Clippers game? Oh yeah, they defeat the Yankees. Yeah,
go Clippers. Anyways, so they realize they cannot pay for their food. Well, I don't even know how they were able to pay for their food. Or thankfully, their credit cards were not taken from the thief. But apparently, you find out that John Candy knows a guy who owes him a favor, and so he's gonna the guy's son gonna drop them off at the train station that will get them closer to where they need to be. Also, the dude's wife is uber strong. Apparently, she pushed out her baby sideways and didn't cry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have to get it back. So Steve is frozen. John is frozen. The dog is frozen. While Keanu is red hot. Just kidding. No, he's frozen for 50 years.
Oh my God. Anyway. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm going too fast. John Candy is able to get money to help him and Steve Martin out. I forgot. So they separate once they get to the train station, and then as John Candy leaves, Steve Martin gets on the train blows out. They meet up again. While they're meeting up, John Candy is selling his products because remember he does those curtain rings, and jewelry, and it's made about what 200 maybe $300 back.
These are authentic hoop earrings that Queen Latifah wore in Bringing Down the House. I'm not kidding you. A cool points are out, and you got me caught in this crazy world.
Oh my. Anyways, oh god. So I remember now. They're in St. Louis. Yeah, they're in St. Louis. So in St. Louis, and John Candy is able to buy them lunch because he had just finished making his money to help out. Steve Martin, who is still reluctant on going anywhere with John Candy, says, I think it's best if we separate because we don't, we got places we got to be. AKA, I don't want to be near you. John Candy is already well aware of the message. So he pays and leaves. He doesn't want to have nothing to do with Steve Martin. So Steve Martin then goes to the what's up?
There's a bus.
He tries to go to the bus. He has no idea where the bus is because they messed up on his ticket.
No. That's the car. They were both on
the car.
Where they say the Flintstones. Then he tries to rent a car. Doesn't know where the car is because the car is gone. He destroys his user agreement. And you should never burn your receipts, man. You should never burn your receipts. Because when he came back, she's like, wait, I don't know. Okay, so there's a part where you drink for every time someone says the F word. Because if you were trying to do the TV muting, remember they used to bleep things, but now they just like mute instead.
All right, I'm gonna say it for you. Hold up. So the lady asks, how can she help him? And she's been delaying it. And so I'm like, very like Patrice from How I Met Your Mother. That's the best way to say it. Steve Martin, you can start by wiping that dumbass smile off your rosy cheeks. Then you can give me an automobile, a Datsun, a Toyota, a Mustang, a Buick, 4 wheels, and a seat. I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me, and I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of the nowhere with keys to a car that isn't there, and I really don't care to walk down a highway and across the runway to get back here to have you smile in my face. I want a car right now. May I see your user agreement? Your rental agreement?
Tore it up. Well then, sir, I'm afraid you are.
Goes out, is very confrontational with one of the guys working at the airport, the rental car area, and that dude punches him Steve Martin in the face really fucking hard. Steve Martin falls back, almost gets his head squashed like freaking Gallagher smashing a watermelon. And it was John Candy in the car. Like, oh, hey,
I almost smashed you like a melon.
Let me get you. Let me help you up. Look, I'm going to Chicago. Come with me, right? And he's like, sir, can you stop being an a-hole and get this man up? The guy lifts Steve Martin by the balls.
Wow, I can't believe a man could actually lift you up by the genitals, and yet there you were.
So Steve Martin tries to make some reconciliation with John Candy. Be like, hey, look, I'm sorry about what I said. Look, I honestly, and they talk and they listen. I do think that if we put our heads together, we can get there. We can get to Chicago before this night is over. And that's when we get the montage because Steve Martin knocks out the mess around. John Candy flicks the cigarette. It does not go outside. It burns the back of his car.
Oh, and he's also messing with the adjust.
You can take it from here, Mike. Go ahead.
One bad thing leads to another. Then, in his struggle to re-obtain that cigarette and put out the fires, he doesn't realize that he ends up swerving and starts driving in the wrong direction. Steve Martin wakes up. It's like, oh no, nothing happened. So they keep driving. Then on the opposite side of the road, people are trying to tell them, hey, you're going the wrong way. It's like, what are they saying? Oh, they're probably John. Like, it took 2 trucks running right at them and then barely squeezing in between like it's the 3rd Indiana Jones movie with the 2 boats.
Yep.
That's right. I mentioned 2 boats without it being a Batman reference. And in this moment, John Candy turns into a skeleton. Steve Martin looks and sees John Candy as Satan. And then when they get out, the car is caught on fire. And of course, Steve Martin's like, for once, something bad happened, and it was to you. It happened to you for once instead of me. But the thing is, he got the car using one of Steve Martin's cards. Because somehow one of his cards accidentally ended up in John Candy's wallet. So he's like, well, then give me the card then. Here's the thing. I slipped it back into your wallet while you were on the payphone. And Steve Martin's wallet was in the dashboard. Chekhov's gun, more like Chekhov's AK-47, because there's like so many like hints to upcoming gags you have to really pay attention to, because they're all going to pay off inevitably. Sometimes you have to wait longer, and sometimes that also means all at once. Noticeably pissed. So they spend a night at this one place. They try to they try to like recover for the next day. John Candy finds a truck, but they have to stay in the storage area. They're freezing, naturally. Where they finally get to the train. Thanksgiving morning. And yeah, Steve Martin starts riding off on the train while John Candy goes his own way, quote unquote. And while on the train, he's just thinking about like how much he loves his family, how his relatives are preparing for Thanksgiving, how the turkey's in the oven being basted, how the pie is being baked, all this good stuff happening. Like,
you got to make me hungry, dog.
Yeah, and by the way, last night I made sopa estaca.
I'm about to. You know what? I might drive to your.
You should.
I gotta wake early for work tomorrow. I'm so trying to get house crabs right now.
You should come over tonight. Get some soup.
I have to wake up early tomorrow morning for work. So I'm trying to get out of off work by 3, so I can spend it with my family and then head to the vet.
Oh, my job doesn't let me work tomorrow or Friday, and I requested to do so.
Well, thankfully, I'm also being clocked in for overtime, and I already told you how. Well, off the podcast, I already told you how much I'm making overtime. So,
I wish I could make overtime by working holidays. Look, as long as I'm free by noon on Thanksgiving, I'm good. Heck, if I'm free by 3 on Thanksgiving, I'm good. But Friday, it's like I don't care. So, but he starts remembering. He starts remembering the fun times he had with Griffith. Candy. But then he starts to notice that some stuff he said were a little off. I like me. My wife likes me. I haven't been home in years.
And then, okay. Then when he goes back to the train
He
station,
realizes
finds Candy there, and he's like, "Dude, you say you've not been home for years to see your wife. Like, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "I don't have a home. My wife died 8 years ago." That revelation itself, it didn't hit me until I watched it. Because when you and I watched it, I'm like, "Oh damn!" But when I watched it now, I'm like, "Shoot, man!" Like, you want to talk about just raw sheer willpower? John Candy's character has raw sheer willpower, because the fact that this man has stayed positive all this time to help a guy he has never met before to get home to his family.
you know what movie has a similar revelation?
Which one?
Good Will Hunting. When
Yeah,
Robin
yeah.
Williams' wife, she died, never dated anyone since then. It's not that she
mean,
left him, it's that she died. And he was there with her when it happened.
look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Anyone could be like, well, I'll date. Like, I've already told, I can date or try to move on after my spouse dies. I'll tell y'all something on a personal note. I've already told my fiance, if God forbid the day comes where she passes away, especially if it's if all of a sudden, I may never date again. I will probably not marry again. I will probably not be with another person again. It'll just be me and me taking care of my son, and that's it. I don't know if I do not know if I have the fortitude to move on like that personally. And even though she has said, "I want you to be happy if God forbid I do pass away, and as long as the woman you love after I am gone makes Jonathan happy and takes care of him and respects him, do it." I'm like, I can't promise you that, because I might never be with another woman after you. So I've already told her that.
But if you will, I hope it's someone that Brittany would posthumously approve of. Again, knock on wood, but
yeah. Shit. Anyways, so the movie ends with Steve Martin taking John Candy with him back home, back to Steve Martin's house, which so happens to be the home from Home Alone. Yes, John Hughes used this is the same house that was used for the McAllisters in Home Alone 1 and 2. Yes, it is. It's not.
It's not. See, here's the thing. Last time I watched that movie, I was thinking the same thing. So I checked, and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It's similar looking, because a lot of Chicago houses look similar.
That is
but
true.
They're not.
Chicago, they do.
What I was surprised to find out is that the house where they filmed freaking Nightmare on Elm Street is not far from where I used to live.
Yeah. I actually knew that, funny enough. And I know that the house from Halloween, where it's supposed to be taking place in Hattonfield, Illinois, that damn house is out in Pasadena. I drove by that house at one point on my way to Power Morphicon this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. It's a landmark. And the people who live there, I think, allow people sometimes to take pictures of the house outside. That's about it.
Okay, so the house from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is and to anyone who lives there, I'm sorry for doxing you. I'm just trying to prove a point. So the house from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is 230 Oxford Road in Kenilworth, Illinois, while the house from Home Alone is 671 Lincoln Avenue in Winnetka, Illinois.
Yep.
Neither is in Chicago. And honestly, if you pay attention to the external architecture, yeah, the two look nothing alike, but the internal decorating is very similar. So if I had to guess that the two houses were built in relatively close enough time periods that the interior architectural style would have been the same in that time period, where both houses would have very similar look to them because that was the style back then.
Yeah,
it's like if two houses were built 100 years apart, you could tell that they were not built at the same time. Period.
but no,
they would have very distinctly different architectural styles on the inside, maybe even on the outside, but definitely on the inside as well. But yeah, no, like a lot of people would get these two houses confused because they were both probably built around the same time.
Yeah. So Steve Martin takes John Candy back home, as I said before. The kids see their dad. In-laws see Steve Martin. Steve Martin sees his wife. Introduces his wife to John Candy's character. They hug. Him and his wife hug and embrace. John Candy just has a smile, knowing that one, he now has a friend and has a family to go to, and he's still loved. And that is the end of the movie. Cuts to black. Fades to black. I'm gonna go first because I'm gonna make this quick. The chemistry between John Candy and Steve Martin is so unmatched. They are one of the best comedy duos. And what's funny is that this was their only movie they did together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and obviously, John Candy has hosted SNL. Steve Martin was one of the hosts of SNL in the late 70s, going in the 70s, going into the 80s. These guys, I am pretty sure that there were certain times where these guys were ad-libbing and doing improv. There is nothing unmatched when it comes to this movie. There will never be there will never be a remake of this movie. The chemistry, the soundtrack, the entire premise from beginning to end is very simple, very funny, and touches the heartstrings in every way, shape, and form. And shouts to Bronson Wright Wolf for subscribing. He had said that Steve Martin fell into a depression for a while right after John Candy passed away, which I can understand that. I mean, these two were like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no, like, and what's sad is that around the same time, another SNL alum also passed away, which was a Chris Farley, also from depression, and both of them were just phenomenal. Like, the crazy thing is, you always have so many amazing comedy duos from SNL back in the day. You had Steve Martin with Dan Aykroyd. You had Mike Myers with Dana Carvey. You had Andy Samberg with, well, honestly, like either one of the two other members of Lonely Islands, but he'd be more remembered as being a comedy duo with Justin Timberlake than anyone else. Let's be honest. So yeah, there's always like great comedy duos, and it's always sad. Chris Farley with James Spader, not James Spader, David Spade. That's what I meant. Yeah. Like, it's always sad when one half of a great duo pass away. Like if David Mitchell or Robert Webb were to pass away, I would be really broken up about it because the two of them were like bread and butter. They're like pin and cushion. That's an actual Webb and Mitchell skit. So yeah, no, like, and John Candy had phenomenal. See, the thing, what I find ironic is these are not my most favorite roles from these two actors. Like, there have been Steve Martin roles I liked more than Neal. There have been John Candy roles I've liked more than Del. But it is sad that because they do in fact have this good of chemistry, it's sad that this is the only time the two of them work together, because you kind of want to see other instances. Like freaking Steve Martin with Michael Caine was phenomenal. Let's be honest. Steve Martin with Martin Short. Steve Martin with Alec Baldwin before he got rusty.
Steve Martin with Queen Latifah.
Steve Martin with Queen Latifah. Exactly. Like Steve Martin with Eugene Levy. But yeah, no, it's like John Candy. It's like I wish we had more opportunities to see.
Oh, hold up. Steve Martin with Rick Moranis. Steve Martin with Joaquin Phoenix. Steve Martin with Keanu Reeves.
He didn't share any scenes with Keanu or except for the hospital scene.
We're gonna have to review Parenthood at some point, right?
Again, yeah.
Again. Hey, look, I'm okay with us doing these look backs on some of the movies we have. Like, if that's the case,
like high key, like I wish that every movie we've ever done on the Scrub Club Gaming podcast, all the way from Bumblebee, all the way to like whatever the last movie we did on Scrub Club podcast. What was it? Broly? I think it was.
No. The last official movie we reviewed together on the Scrub Club podcast before we switched up to the Buttery show was Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
I remember
because I know we did. So I know we did the 3 Kamen Rider movies from the 90s and special. We did all of the Hatchet movies,
all the Transformers movies.
All the Terminator movies.
God damn it!
You know what's funny is how like we watched 3 Terminator movies back to back with no break, and then reviewed 2 of them without break. And before any of you audience members get optimistic, the first of those 3 movies was the third one. That's right. We watched 3, 4, and 5 back to back, then reviewed 3 and 4. We didn't have it in us to do Genesis that same night.
Dude, we did Genesis. I was gonna. Oh God.
3?
No.
We watched all 3 of those movies back to back. Then we reviewed 2 of them back to back without break.
Before you ask, I would rather watch. You know what? We're gonna need to go through the Halloween movies again, and actually do Halloween 2 Rob Zombie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't do it proper. You know, we tried to do it, but we didn't do it proper.
Yeah, so we might have to, because I am ready to give Halloween 4 Return an 8 out of 10. Just to let you know. Anyway, going back to this movie, because we're off on a tangent. We gotta get out of here soon. This movie gets a 9 out of 10. I love this movie. It is one of the best Thanksgiving movies. An actual Thanksgiving movie. I understand a lot of people were kind of. I know you were questioning if Four Brothers and Rudy were Thanksgiving.
No,
movies.
Four Brothers counts. Four Brothers counts.
Okay.
They did have Thanksgiving in that movie. Rudy, on the other hand,
is the toss-up. Well, again, turkey.
But you know what's even bigger toss-up? Wicked.
But that wasn't a Thanksgiving movie. That was just Ryan and Andrea reviewed the movie because it was the newest movie that was out right now. Which reminds me,
I still challenge them. I still call for the challenge.
Which reminds me, we're gonna have to review Moana 2. And I'm excited for that movie. Anyways,
I didn't even watch the first one.
Go ahead. 9 out of 10. Go ahead.
8 for me. It's not that it was a bad movie. I mean, 8 is still like a really good score. It's just like probably didn't hit me as hard as like it hit you, but I think it's more because I expected more from Martin and Candy and stuff. Like, and don't get me wrong, that heartfelt ending, like towards the end, finding out that Candy's wife was gone. Yeah, it's good, but it's like, it's just that as far as John Hughes' style goes, I feel like he could have done better with it, because I know there have been other movies that John Hughes did with similar themes, but did them better. Like Uncle Buck, like it dealt with family dilemmas a little bit better, in my opinion. And this has nothing to do with my childhood bias for Macaulay Culkin. You know who no one really talks about anymore? Richie Rich.
I'm down to review Richie Rich. The movie, I actually like the movie.
You know what I need to rewatch? that made-for-TV Christmas movie that aired on Fox Kids, edited to be only an hour long.
Oh my god!
And I think there was an episode of Digimon right after. I think I was more hyped for the Digimon episode. Let's be honest.
Oh my god! Anyways, all right. Let's talk. Let's look at some of these comments from Gaga here. Oh yes, that film that should not be named. Oh, you talk about the jerk. Oh wait, no. Yeah, the jerk.
No. I think he's talking about something else.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, love it when you do the Steve Martin movies. Thank you. We already talked about Bronson Wright Wolf. By the way, shouts to Bronson Wright Wolf for the subscription. Matthew Lawrence, who plays Steve Martin's son in this movie, also plays Robin Williams' son in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. I was yo. That means Kilo Khan was the one that stopped all the planes from flying out. Damn you, Tim Curry! You win again.
Anyways, all right, guys, that is it for our review. Again, happy Thanksgiving at the time of this recording, and the next review will be
on Friday,
Black Friday special. Do you want to show them? Let's go ahead and show them what we're reviewing.
So this is technically a Christmas movie, but we allow it for Thanksgiving.
A Black Friday movie,
even though it takes place Christmas Day.
Yes, but keep in mind that. Yeah, let's go, baby.
That's right. We're doing a prequel to a prequel.
Jingle all the way, ladies and gentlemen, this Friday. And yes, it counts as both a Black Friday movie and a Christmas movie. We're going to finally tackle one of the greatest Black Friday movies of all time. A movie that honestly, it took about 2 decades for people to actually realize what this movie is about. And I cannot wait to talk about it and talk about the first-degree murder Sinbad commits in the movie.
It's about being careful on whose lap you sit on.
People, don't be duped about Black Friday. Anyways, Mike, where do people find you, bro?
You can find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto. I will try to go back to video game streaming in January. It's been a very busy year for me, and I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to be there for you guys. But a lot of tokusatsu content, so it wasn't all bad. 4 podcasts per week, and also that includes 3 seasons of Ultraman, 4 seasons of Kamen Rider, 1 season of Super Sentai, and a partridge in a pear tree.
This man is the hardest working dude in the crew right now, and I'm glad I'm coming back in so I can try and get.
Which reminds me, I need to work on a vlog tomorrow.
I got you, and I gotta work on. I got pass a few videos over to Ryan tonight, so because I already finished them. Yes. If not tonight, then it'd be tomorrow when I get home from Thanksgiving. But
I hope it's a Wild Force actor.
Maybe not, but we'll find out. Anyways, y'all people can and for me, y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram, @TheReckless_Fox. I'm seconding with Mike here. I will be coming back to Twitch soon as well. I know I keep saying it, but I'm actually going to come back. We will be jumpstarting the Scrub Club podcast in January. There's a lot I gotta explain to y'all. The first episode just might be me explain what the happened, but we're coming back. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. And also check out our sister channel, The Morphin Network, where we talk about all things tokusatsu. We just finished doing the latest episode of Kamen Rider Gavu. Typically we do Ultraman Arc on Mondays, Kamen Rider Gavu on Wednesdays, Bakuage Sentai Boom Boomger on Thursdays, and Kamen Rider Gaim on Sundays. But this week in particular, because it is Thanksgiving, we're moving Boom Boomger to Friday, so you guys don't miss out on. So yes, we're gonna do Boom Boomger on one channel and then Jingle All the Way on the other channel immediately after. So you get 2 podcasts for the price of one. And also for Gaim, we're doing the TV finale. We only have 4 episodes left. And then once we're done with that, we just have to do the 3 Blu-rays. And then we're done with Gaim. We're going to take the week off. Come back January with a brand new season of Kamen Rider for us to review.
Okay.
And of course, this guy's working on the Power Morphicon interviews. So,
we're gonna have them all out. I guarantee you guys, we're gonna have them all out before this year's over. You're gonna have none but amazing content. Mm-hmm. Again, watch this guy's interview with Jungle Fury White Ranger. It's awesome.
Watch this guy's review with the Solaris Night Ranger.
Watch this guy's interview with the Black Ranger from Jungle Fury.
Watch him do an interview with the Cat Ranger from SPD. Wow, you got 2 SPD actors back to back.
Hey, that is true. That is true. Anyways, watch everyone's interviews, okay? Just watch everyone's interviews. Mm-hmm. Until then, guys, we'll see y'all on Black Friday. Remember,
Centennial Black Friday.
Be safe out there.
100 years of corporate greed.
Good night, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Bye-bye. Say bye, Strandy. Bye-bye.
Bye.